Welcome to Hill Country Hustlers podcast. I'm your host, Zachary Green. We're here, episode 5, with Jenny McCombs from Fredericksburg. Thank you for joining me, Jenny. How was
Thank
the
you for
drive?
having me on, Zach. I appreciate it. It's always
Yeah.
beautiful anywhere in the Hill Country. I think
Yes,
it's the
ma'am.
best part of Texas.
Absolutely. Y'all are on Lukenbach Road, right? Is that right?
Yes, sir. So my husband and I own the Full Moon Inn Bed and Breakfast, and then also have the 1776 bar at the same place.
Awesome. Really cool. Okay, so they're right next to each other?
They're all on the same property. So
Awesome.
the same room that we wind up serving breakfast to our overnight B&B guest is
Mhm.
also where we have the bar on the
Wow.
weekends.
Okay, I think I saw that in the pictures, and the property looks amazing.
Thank
I
you.
got to tell you, it's really cool. So you got to drive by some of the wineries on the way out. Is that
Oh, yes. Good grief. They're everywhere.
yes? It's pretty out there, but it's starting to slow the traffic down a bit.
Yes, it is. But I do
Mhm.
love living somewhere where there's small country roads and low speed limits, and you get to really enjoy the drives.
Yes, ma'am. Are you from the Hill Country?
I'm actually originally from Lubbock,
Okay.
and I started coming down to Fredericksburg when I was 8 years old. My mom had seen an ad in a magazine about the Fredericksburg Herb Farm, and so we started coming down every year for my birthday from the time I was 8 until I was 20.
Oh, wow.
And I always just thought that Fredericksburg was magical and still feel that way. So honestly, I've been looking at real estate in Fredericksburg since I was 8 years old and
Mhm.
finally got to move here when I was 39. So a
Awesome.
couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when's your birthday?
May 11th.
Oh, we missed it. Well, happy late birthday.
Thank you.
No problem. So how did you get into the B&B industry?
So, like I said, I've always wanted to live in Fredericksburg. It's always been my dream
Mhm.
and wasn't specifically looking to become an innkeeper, but you know how life goes.
Yes.
And it's not like I went to school for hospitality management or anything like that, but I've always, in one way or another, been in the hospitality industry.
Mhm.
And so it's actually an 8 hour long story as to how it is that we got this property.
Yes.
It's miracles after miracles is what it is. There'd been some major life things that had happened in my life in the last 4 or 5 years, and had been married, recently gotten married in Fredericksburg, actually a year before my husband and I moved down here at a different location. And it was finally time to make a big move if we were going to make a big move. And so I used to own a flower shop in Midland and had that for about 8.5 years. And my longtime manager bought the flower shop, and God figured out all the details. And I mean, it's really a miracle story. It's
Yeah.
hard to summarize, but
Mhm.
God figured out all the details, and my husband and I got to move here at the end of September of 2023. So it's been almost 2 years now.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you have a little experience running a business before this with the flower shop?
Oh yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
gotcha.
And everything when it comes down to it, no matter the industry, is the hospitality industry, right? Everything is sales, and everything is being nice to people.
Mhm.
And so we're very fortunate that the property that we purchased, the Full Moon Inn Bed and Breakfast, has been a B&B since 1994.
Okay.
So it's already very well established, decades of good reviews, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And it is so much fun. I
Yeah.
had no idea walking into it really what to expect. And, you know, in the beginning, we were completely overwhelmed, right? The first
Yeah.
couple months, because it's like running 9 households and a breakfast restaurant and a weekend bar and livestock and gardening and,
Mhm.
you know, maintenance, all the things.
Yeah.
And so after we'd been there a couple months and kind of had a grasp of things and weren't completely freaking out anymore, was when we started to realize, okay, it's a wonderful business to be in because 99% of the people that stay with us are here on vacation. You know, they're just here to relax and have fun and whatever. So they're automatically in a good mood, which
Mhm.
is a great business to be in.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
and, and two, all of it is a ministry when it comes down to it, you know, because how often do you get to have a positive influence on so many people's lives on a day-to-day basis, both through the B&B. We've got 8 rooms that we rent out. We can sleep over 20 people. And then the weekend bar, the 1776 bar, is a locals bar.
Mhm.
And so the average age of our bar guest is usually over 65. We have about 8, I think we're at 8 right now, men that are over 80 years old that come to our bar. And so they kind of swing the curve the
Mhm.
higher up,
Yeah.
but it's all a ministry. It's all an opportunity to be a blessing in somebody else's life and to be of service and to, just show them the peace and quiet and all of that stuff. We're not one of those hustle and bustle places.
Yeah.
My husband and I live on site. So I think that also is a great deal because it's
Mhm.
not in any possible way like staying in a hotel or something where like you don't meet the owners, right?
Yeah.
They meet us right off the bat. They know that
Mhm.
we're going to be cooking them breakfast and cleaning their rooms and showing them the animals and telling stories and all of that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So it's really amazing.
Yeah. What animals do you have out there?
Oh, way too many. Way too many. Right now we have 5 dogs, a copious amount of barn cats. It's baby season, so
Mhm.
everybody's having babies. About, I'd say 40 chickens, which is good
Nice.
because we cook eggs every day,
Yeah.
right,
Oh,
at
so
breakfast.
you cook
So,
all the eggs
oh
from
yes.
your chickens?
So we need
Oh, that's
a
awesome.
lot of chickens.
Yeah.
And then we recently went from 8 milk goats to it's baby season. They all had babies, and so now we have 17,
Oh, wow.
yes,
Did you get
goats.
twins out of one of those?
Oh, yes, twins, triplets,
Oh,
on and on, a
cool.
whole lot.
That's really neat. So you get to deal with a couple different things while doing this. It's not just clock in and clock out. You're kind of always on the clock.
Oh, yes, just like any small business owner, I would happily work 80 hours a week for myself in order to not have to work 40 hours a week for somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
It's
Absolutely.
the joy of being a small business owner. I wouldn't trade
Yes.
it for anything.
Well said. So I wanted to ask you, how is the B&B community with the city of Fredericksburg? It seems like it's really big out there. So can you kind of describe that relationship?
Yes, so we are out in the county, so we don't have
Oh, okay.
to go by city rules, different things like that. They are a little bit more strict. I know they recently went through a lot of major changes because there were so many people that were buying homes in Fredericksburg just to do nightly rentals
Hmm.
and, big investment groups and people that don't even live in Texas and all that kind of stuff. So the city kind of shut that down here recently, and well, in the last 2 years that we've been here. But with us being out in the county, it's, there's a lot more freedom,
Hmm.
of course. And our no our neighbors are wonderful. I mean, we have people that their parents and grandparents and great grandparents lived on the land right next to us. And so there's a lot of old German history and a lot of culture and everything. And, we're the new kids in town. And thankfully we're from Texas
Hmm.
because that was the first question that everybody asks is where are you coming from? I'm like, don't worry, it's Texas. It's okay. And everybody's like, oh, well, thank goodness it's not
Hmm.
California. Right. And I get that. And now I ask the same question when people move here. I'm like, where are you from? Um, but it's a wonderful culture to be a part of. It still feels like a small town.
Yeah.
We still have small town celebrations and parades and festivals and like all of
Hmm.
those things that you don't get to have in a larger city. I've lived in Lubbock for 20 years, lived in Midland for almost 15 years, and they don't have any of that small town feel. They're all just big cities.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of different B&Bs in and around the Fredericksburg area. Of course, I'm partial to mine, but I could tell you that the vast majority of our guests will say that there is something magical about the place, that there's just the peace and the quiet, and there's something different about it. Most people can't put their finger on it.
Hmm.
And I can because I believe that it's all God business. I believe that what we have is holy, sanctified land,
Yes, ma'am.
honestly.
Hmm.
And so we're very blessed. We very much take responsibility for stewarding the land that God gave us, and trying to always improve it and all of that. I just so happen to love gardening, and so that can easily be a full-time job. And then my husband is a old-timey cowboy from way back
Mhm.
and is also an artist, and so he builds the most beautiful things out of rocks and wood, fallen limbs, just using all the resources of the land. So we
Mhm.
don't we don't really throw anything away that we could use in order to build or sculpt new fences and gardens and things like that. So it's really a neat way to utilize everything that is
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That's really cool.
You'll have to come see it.
I
It's
do. I
gorgeous.
really need to come see it. Just the pictures have me pretty mesmerized. It, like you said, it looks like a wonderful place.
It
And
is. It is. And it's fun to, remembering back to when I was 8 years old and the first time I came to Fredericksburg and staying out at the Fredericksburg Herb Farm and all of those memories and experiences and how magical that was to me as a child. I'm trying to recreate that now
mhm,
with the different gardens and, all kinds
mhm,
of things. And because it's such a different and better experience, in my opinion, to stay in a B&B versus staying in a hotel. Maybe if you're in Las Vegas or New York, something like that, yeah, stay in a hotel.
mhm.
You know what to expect, but to be able to stay with somebody to, basically stay in our home in a sense,
Mhm.
right? And get to know people and visit and meet strangers at breakfast. We have this huge breakfast table and we'll cook breakfast for anywhere from 18 to 24 people.
Wow.
And everybody just sits at this one giant family table and gets to know each other and visit. And a lot of times people meet and become good friends, and then they'll come back next year for the same concert at Lukenbach or music festival
Mhm.
or whatever, and all stay at our place again. So
Yeah.
it's neat to see how all of those relationships develop as well.
Mhm. Y'all are right across from Lukenbach, right? It's pretty close?
Yes, we're the closest B&B to them. So we're half a mile down the road. And that is, of course, the main attraction out in our area. We're about 7 miles from downtown Main Street, but we're pretty much right next to Lukenbach. And so because of that, and because Lukenbach is so famous, we get a lot of foreign travelers,
Ah,
a lot of foreign
really?
travelers. Of course, tons of Germans, tons of Brazilians,
Oh.
tons of British. We've had people from Iceland. We recently had a family from Israel. We've had people from China, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Sweden. I mean, all over the place. And they are all coming to go to Lukenbach.
No way.
Isn't that wild?
That is awesome.
Because of that one song back in the
Mhm.
1970s, right?
Yeah.
That made Lukenbach famous. And so, like last summer, we had two couples from Norway who both had 30 years previously honeymooned at Lukenbach
Mhm.
from Norway. And they didn't know each other back then, but had become friends since. And so they decided that they all wanted to come back and visit Lukenbach again. It's
Wow.
just wild.
Yeah. That's really cool. I didn't know it was that popular worldwide. I knew it was a craze around here, but that's cool to hear.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's really neat. And
Nice.
to get to be somewhere where you can have all those different cultures come in and,
Mhm.
people have so many different questions or experiences or, just want to know stuff.
Yeah. You get to see a lot of unique people and stories.
Absolutely.
That's cool. So since you bought the Airbnb, what kind of changes have y'all put in to try to shape it?
So the previous owners had 7 units that they rented out. And so we were able to make a couple changes with that. And then we added a giant 10-person hot tub.
Oh,
It's a swim spa, it's huge.
that's cool.
And because water is like the number one searched thing when people decide where it is that they're going to stay, whether it's a swimming pool or a hot tub or whatever. And so we got this giant 10-person hot tub that can be hot in the winter and cold in the summer. So it kind of, you know, serves both purposes.
Yeah.
And then we also opened up a bar inside, which is the 1776 bar. So it's the most patriotic bar in Texas. And it's really like a tiny museum, little patriotic museum. It's awesome. We've got stuff
Mhm.
from World War One, World War Two, Vietnam. We have this giant wall of heroes that, I mean, it's huge. And so we have all kinds of different American heroes on there, whether they were in the military or law enforcement or just had a major contribution, to our country in some capacity. And so all of our B&B guests, all of our bar guests, locals, everybody is welcome to bring a picture of their loved one that has served in the military or whatever and put that up on the wall. And so that's really neat because we have live music and everything. And so we've got some of the older guys that play guitar and everything around here. Well, they were in the Marines way back when,
Mhm.
and so we've got their picture on the wall, or our neighbor's son who is serving in the Navy right now. And so that's a neat community thing to have people bring us all of those and to be able to put them all up and just really be proud of our country and the people that serve it in different capacities. We do have a locals potluck, which is
Oh.
our favorite night of the entire month. So the first Thursday of each month is our locals potluck, and that same big giant table that we serve breakfast on in the morning, people bring food and cover the whole entire thing, and we'll have live music, and then we have beer and wine, and we're a locals bar,
Mhm.
and we don't do wine tours, we don't do bachelorette parties, we don't do any of that stuff. People that are our age are very rarely at our bar. Okay. Like I said, its average age is like 65.
Mhm.
And so it's really neat to be able to provide that in the community for, all of the neighbors and different things like that to come and do, because that's what everybody used to do back in the day,
Mhm.
was celebrate things together. And then of course, because we are the most patriotic bar in Texas, we also will host any form of political event, election night, debates, anything major like that that's
Mhm.
televised. We also have that, the inauguration, different things like that.
Cool.
So it's an awesome way to give back in a different capacity.
Yeah. That's amazing. And like you said, you have that community feel and you're building that, and that's awesome because I think, I don't know, I'm kind of young, but I feel like we're losing it a little bit more and more. So it's cool to hear from someone that's cultivating it.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. And we've learned that, a lot from the people that have been around, and have been willing to give us a chance as the new kids out here,
Hmm.
and see that we're not just interested in you coming out and spending money. You can go anywhere and do that, right?
Yeah.
But we want you to come and be a part of something, and invite your family and friends and know that you can come and hang out. And if you just need to talk about your day or whatever, then we're going to be there and we'll have
Hmm.
a beer with you and we'll talk about it.
Wow. That's cool. That's really interesting to hear. So I guess I'm going to change the gears a little bit,
Okay.
but back towards the beginning, what were some of the biggest unexpected challenges that you and your husband had to face when you took over?
Unexpected challenges, I would say, maintenance, a whole lot of
Yeah.
maintenance.
Mhm.
Just running one household and keeping up with your air filters and smoke alarms and, insurance, and this thing fell apart and you need to fix that window and whatever. That's enough for most people, is to
Mhm.
just manage one household. So one of the cool things about our property is we have two buildings that are original built on site by the German settlers in the 1860s, which is Civil War time frame.
Yeah.
And the descendants of those German settlers, it's the Kuntz family, they still own 300 acres behind us. And so we have little write ups in those two suites that talk about their family and what it is that they did in the community and everything like that. And so that's one of the really unique things. But at the same time, like, how is it that you maintain something that is 160 years old? Of
Yeah.
course, it's all been updated. We've got electricity and plumbing and, all of that kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
But one of the buildings or one of the suites that we rent out is called the Texas Oil Boom Room. And it was the old smokehouse for this family. And so down in the basement, they would build the fire and then have a green slatted cedar ceiling. And so in the top part is where they would hang the meat, build the fire, and that would smoke the meat, right? Well, the outside of that building is 160-year-old wood.
Wow.
So there's things that you have to do in order to make sure that it lasts another 160 years,
Mhm.
right? Because
Yeah.
nothing that we build is temporary.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that my husband's very proud of is whatever it is that he's going to build is going to be here in 100 years.
Mhm.
And people don't build like that anymore. Everything falls apart super fast. You have to go buy a new one, whatever.
Yeah.
And so learning how to preserve things like that,
Mhm.
and then also learning how to like maintain the feel of it, to honor the land, to also build and improve on the land, to make sure that it all kind of flows together, right? Flows together
Mhm.
visually, that there's not something that stands out that's too modern, different things like that.
Yeah.
So
That
it's neat to learn like the aesthetics of that.
Mhm.
And all of our rooms that we rent out are themed.
I saw
So
that.
Texas music, Texas wine, oil
Mhm.
boom, sunset, cowboys and Indians, stuff like that. And so that in the beginning, that was overwhelming to think of, having a shop for all these different themes versus whatever it is that I like, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now it's not. It's so much easier. And it really whittles down what it is that we ever need to buy.
Mhm.
Because if it doesn't fit in this space in this themed room, then we don't need it.
Mhm.
So that's helpful.
Yeah. That's an interesting challenge. I don't think I'm gonna hear that one anytime soon from anyone else. So that's really cool, having to deal with kind of the old build and the new build and keep the
Mhm.
aesthetic even.
Yes.
Wow, nice. So how do you see it, I guess, evolving in the next maybe 5 or 10 years?
So our goal, which I absolutely believe is attainable, our goal is for the B&B to be sold out 365 days a year. Because, and let me explain this, I am 100% a capitalist. And the reason why I'm a capitalist is because then it creates jobs and you can help other people achieve their dreams. And so the busier we are, the more we can be of service and help other people. And we also have a ministry. My husband and I do, helping people get back on their feet after, major life tragedies or major life changes, things like that.
Mhm.
And and that's something that we're very passionate about. And we believe that God gave us this property and the whole thing is a ministry, right? Not just our specific ministry, but everything is. Anytime you encounter another person, and and so for us to be able to be sold out nonstop, then just makes it to where we can help more people with more resources
Mhm.
and help them build their own house, get their own piece of land, build their own house, start their own business here in the hill country.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot of people that come to us that have skills, that are tradesmen, that know all different types of things, right? And because of whatever life event, they got knocked off their feet,
Mhm.
and so they just need help building a new life. And if they love the hill country as much as we do, and they want to start a new business here, whether it's being a handyman, everybody needs one of those, right?
Mhm.
Or doing tree trimming, or starting a t-shirt company, or computer science stuff, like all of those different things are needed. There's room for everybody, right? All
Yeah.
businesses, room for everybody. And so that's why we want to be sold out, right? It's not
Mhm.
just to put money in our pockets. It's because we have all of these different people that we help and we want to help them start businesses that'll change their lives and ultimately change the future generations that come out of them.
That's awesome. That's, I think, an ultimate vision of success right there.
Yes,
Being able to build a community of people and
absolutely.
help lift people up. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you won't ever hear me say it's because I want to retire or anything like that. No,
Mm,
I'm a worker bee. My husband's a workhorse. Um, and and honestly, I don't think that we're really meant to retire, because we're supposed to always be working and improving and building and
mhm,
contributing and being of service and all of those things.
yeah.
So yes, we just got to figure out how to be sold out all the time,
Mhm.
and then we can help with the other dreams.
Well, I believe you'll get there. I like the vision. That's awesome. I just met you, but amazing person from what I'm hearing, and that's a
Thank you.
really cool story.
It's really amazing. It's like watching miracles every day,
Yeah.
and I post a lot on my Facebook page of, different miracles and situations that happen, especially with our ministry. Or with people coming to stay at the B&B, and then getting to know them and seeing whatever happened in their life and stuff like that. Because we have several return guests, tons of return guests. We have two specific couples that come to see us like 3 or 4 times a year,
Oh, cool.
just because they love hanging out. They love live music, and so whatever big show that's playing at Lukenbach, they'll get tickets to that, and they'll come and stay with us for the weekend. And so we become great friends with them. And sometimes they won't ever even make it to the concert, right? Because we
Mhm.
just get to having so much fun together. And so that's awesome. I don't know, I can't emphasize it enough how much, like, well, here's the way I know earlier in my life, especially like in the 20s and stuff, and maybe in the early years of when I had my previous business, it's just day to day stuff. And it's easy to get bogged down in okay, I have to do this. I have to achieve all of these things. Plus, I'm trying to grow a business. Plus, I'm blah, blah, blah. Right.
Mhm.
And, and not really be present for all of the other things that happen as a result. And that's hard to do when you're responsible for so many things. Right. And there's all these different expectations and people counting on you and all of that. And I would say that was probably one of the hard things in the beginning to try to learn how to figure out,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and but getting to be present, and the more we pay attention, the more we can see God working in every aspect,
Mhm.
versus if I'm consumed by whatever, horrible thing is happening in the news or social media and trying to measure up to all the other similar businesses in town based off of what it is that they post or whatever, you'll just make yourself crazy,
Mhm.
right? We know that what we have is is special for a reason, and we know that the people that come to us are special for a reason. And we might only have them for one night and that's it, but we hope that we made an impression on their lives.
Yeah.
And it just kind of changes, makes you look at everything a little differently.
Wow. I bet. That's really cool. That's cool you get to experience that. Wow.
I agree. Because we're the ones that wind up being blessed the most out of all of it.
Mhm. That's a cool way to look at it and put
Mhm.
it. Wow.
Miracles after miracles. I say all the
Miracles.
time, if I would just pay attention more, I would be able to see more miracles,
Mhm.
because it's easy to see the big ones,
Yes.
right? When somebody's life shifts.
Mhm.
Um, but but there's so many little ones too, and
Mhm.
we don't deserve any of it. We were um someday when you have me on for an 8-hour show and I tell you all the details, uh we were not qualified by traditional census um in any capacity when we tried to buy this property. And I told the realtor that on day one. I was like, if we're going to get this, it's going to be because God's going to figure it out.
Mhm.
And she didn't really believe me until we got into the process. And then she saw the things happening and she's like, okay, I've never seen anything like this before, but yes, now I believe you when you say it's all God business. And it's everything is an act of faith, right? Everything is trusting that it's going to work out, or trusting that you're doing the right thing, with every business, right? With every business, with every ad dollar spent, with every customer you serve, you name it. It's all trusting that you're going in the right direction and you're doing what it is that you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that actually works out, it's like, oh, thank goodness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. I think I'm still at a point where I'm kind of haven't taken my sigh of relief yet, but I think I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's good.
And I think you touched on something really great there. I think all of us could use it, but looking at all the little miracles more closely,
Yes.
not getting bogged down by all the negativity, keeping your eyes open to the positive.
Absolutely. And to the things that really matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is community and creation, right? We're supposed to build things. We're supposed to create stuff, and how do we take care of the land and how do we use things on the land in order to build cooler stuff and all the stuff that's online, not all of it, but the vast majority of it, it's not real life, and it doesn't matter. And it's probably not going to help you serve somebody else. Like there's so much that's just comparison or, judgment or criticism or chaos or whatever. I think all of those started with a C. Didn't do that on purpose. Versus it's like getting back to old timey. We had some city ladies stay with us recently and they were like, man, this is so old timey. This is like how things used to be. Absolutely. Right. And there's such a push too for like getting back to the basics and getting back to the land and homesteading. That's why that's becoming such a big thing, and everybody's going out buying chickens and like learning how to make sourdough bread and all that kind of stuff, right? And I think it's a primal thing.
Yeah, it's ingrained in us.
Yes, of self-sufficiency and personal reliance and personal independence and, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so the more things that we can learn how to do ourselves and not have to purchase from somebody else, the way better they are. You haven't eaten my tomatoes, but compared to store-bought tomatoes, right, you just can't beat them. And everybody can grow tomatoes. So it's just little things like that. How can we get back to the simplicity of life when it wasn't so chaotic and traumatic? And I know for me, when I don't check social media 47 times a day, I don't have very much chaos in my life. I'd rather sit down and drink a beer with one of these 80-year-old men that comes by and listen to their stories because they've got so much wisdom and knowledge and they're hilarious. So you'll have to come by sometime and meet them because they're an absolute riot.
That sounds like a good time.
Yes.
I'll make sure to stop by soon.
Please do.
Next time I'm in Luckenbach, I'll come by.
Good.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area and I love going up there.
Oh, yes.
It's cool. It's cool to see, like you said, the old-timey feel just at Luckenbach, but I can't imagine your place. I can't wait to see it.
Well, I can't wait for you to come by.
Oh, thank you.
And we live there. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, you can come by anytime. The 1776 bar's only open on the weekends, but we live there. So you'll see us out watering the yard or tending to the animals or building something or cleaning or whatever. So just come by and see it.
That sounds good. All right. Well, we're running a little low on time, so I'm going to wrap it up. Is there anything you'd like to add or any cool news coming up for the bar or the inn?
We're starting to have live music at least once a weekend. So either on Friday or Saturday night at the bar. And we've also started doing like little music festivals, where it'll be one day and we book 6 bands. So it's like 10 hours music. And my husband, Doug, actually built this beautiful outdoor stage down on our creek side.
Mhm.
So it's all undeveloped down there. And he just took fallen limbs and rock and everything. And he made this gorgeous stage. And then we got a bunch of solar powered lights and, party lights, stuff like
Mhm.
that. And so we've had one music festival down there. And then once we get into the cooler months, right, we'll wind up having a
Mhm.
lot more. And it's just, it feels old timey, so that's really cool. But people can follow us mostly social media wise, would be Facebook, both the Full Moon Inn and the 1776 bar.
Mhm.
They each have a page, and you're welcome to keep up with us there and then just come by and see us sometime.
Sweet. That sounds good. Y'all go follow the Full Moon Inn bar and the Full Moon Inn and the 1776 bar. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Y'all go follow them on Facebook and make sure to check them out in person if you ever get a chance. It's the most patriotic bar in Texas, and you get a return to simplicity. Well, thank you for coming by, Jenny. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.